I want to, first of all, good afternoon, Chevra. I want to share something that Yehuda Schwimmer, I give credit in this conversation. I'm the ones who get credit are the Rebbe Shlita, Reb Geisler, and Yehuda Schwimmer. I wanna share something that Chaikel and I were talking about, but I want you to hear this, Avi. To me, there was a big benefit. I hope there would be to you a benefit. It's something that's on my mind a lot today. Yehuda, I want you to hear this. Shemi, I want you to hear this badly. I want to discuss something with the Chevra that I think could be very beneficial in many areas in life. I want Martha's feedback from this. This is based on a serious discussion with Chaikel, something that helped me and helped him. It's based on the Rebbe. You can blame the Sfas Emes if you want, whatever you want. I want to share this discussion. In the parsha, this week's parsha in Vayishlach, so all of us, from the time we're little, we learn the story. Esav was coming from a little kid. We sing the song, and we learn about Yaakov Avinu as there's a fright. Esav's coming to attack Yaakov Avinu. He has an army. Esav's coming. When it says 400 men, it was much more than 400 men. The 400 men are the heads of the battalions. He's coming with massive army marching on Yaakov Avinu. And Binyamin, there's massive fear of what's going to be. And we all study Yaakov Avinu's preparation for this epic encounter. We sing about it, we learn about it, we study Yaakov's three things he prepares. Beautiful. It ends up that when Esav comes, in the craziest, most unexpected, and if you will, it's very anticlimactic, Esav kisses Yaakov Avinu. And all the preparation and the whole story, he kissed Yaakov Avinu. That's what happens. He kisses Yaakov, like incredibly anticlimactic story. All his worries, his fears, his whole sugya of preparation for this sugya. And when Esav comes, he kisses Yaakov Avinu. Kiva, I want you to hear this really well. There's a sugya here. Please understand, we study Torah, we're studying our lives, the truth. And hear the great story of Yaakov's encounter with Esav, with his brother, who for years wants to kill Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov Avinu with his whole family, the threat of death. It's scary, it's overwhelming, it's nuts. He's worried for everything he has, for his children. Threat of death. And Esav comes and kisses him. Now, I want to express that somebody can conclude that when Hashem runs the world, that's a good conclusion. And there were years that what I absorbed in this story is the Hashem geyser, and all the anger disappears. There's something else, Chemi, I need to talk, Avi, I need to talk to all you about, and I need to talk about it. I remember with Obama being elected, there were a lot of Rabbanim, there was a lot of talk how dangerous Obama was. A lot of talk. Was he dangerous? It wasn't. It was like, oh, that's funny. To the point I even want to express, when Rabbanim were talking about Mamdani, my mind kept going to Obama. Like, okay. And I'm not getting political, and I need everybody I don't need anything. I need many things. If you don't listen, I'm asking, I want you to hear something that will affect your own life, I believe. Mamdani, people were talking about Mamdani, Maishi, and my mind was going to Obama. There was so much talk with Obama, and it turned out nothing. I want to talk about this story of Yaakov and Esav. Yaakov's worried, does crazy preparation, and the whole thing ends up a joke. Esav kisses him. So why is this in the Torah even? So the whole thing ended up being, it was like a mistake. Now you say, well, Hashem made an ace. It's true. Remember the Torah, Hashem could have done anything. Esav could have come, by the way, and attacked Yaakov, and Hashem could have made an ace, and Yaakov won a war. What Hashem does is exact. So interesting that Yaakov does crazy preparations and Hashem makes it like it's just silly, anticlimactic. I almost want this story to be Esav Taka attacked and Hashem made a miracle and Yaakov wins the war. Yaakov fought other wars. Everything's exact in the Torah. And after all the preparations and the whole, let all his plans work out, Chevra. Yaakov had some great plans. He had strategies of battle. He had gifts. Let things work. And Esav comes and Esav gives a kiss. It's like comical. It's like there's something strange. There's something. Even the gifts, by the way. Even the gifts. You see the gifts work. I hear. Maybe Yaakov's brilliant plan of these gifts affected. But there's other preparations. There were preparations for battle also. Well, afterwards I want to hear. So what's happening here? What's happening here in this story of Yaakov's preparations and the whole thing becomes meaningless? What I want to express to the Chevra, and what I want people to understand, is people can go through lives, have a story like Obama, and they can end up concluding from that story, and there's an easy... I don't need many excuses not to feel. I'm very good at not feeling, as many people are. We're all good, Binyamin. We're all good, Azriel, at not feeling. We're very good at that game. We can intellectualize. I have a lot of tricks. If you want, I can give you my list of tricks. I use sports not to feel very well. I'll turn on a ball game, numbs me. I'm very good. That's my drug of choice, sports. I'll turn on a Nick game, I'm done, and I'll focus in. Not to feel I can intellectualize, start like handling, like here. A lot of tricks, I can give you my bag of tricks, you might be able to tell me your bag of tricks. We're very good at not processing something. What I want to express is many situations of our life. I was dealing with a situation where it's a long story, but for months you're preparing, you're thinking, and then you end up dealing with the thing, and it was like, that was it? That was the whole thing? And I want to express that the Iker thing in the world of Hasidus always spoke about preparing for a mitzvah. Is deeper than the mitzvah, is the preparation for the mitzvah. There are many proofs to that. I could talk proofs. What I want to express to the Chevra, by the way, with Obama, it was very important, all our worries. The fact that we were scared was very important. The Iker story is the human being's relationship to the story. You know how many things we got to work on in being afraid? It's very important what happened to us in relating to Obama coming. It's very scary, a guy coming who might be... And by the way, Hashem I don't know in what happened, if it was a miracle, not a miracle. I want to express that the Iker, Yaakov Avinu's afraid Esav's coming, changed our life, what happened to Yaakov Avinu. And his preparations and his response, if there's emunah acquired, if there's all different things, if Obama's coming in and we learn to trust the Chacham said vote and we voted, that's a big thing. If I learned how to go on a walk with my fears, that's a big thing. The story relating in your lives, every guy here will have things in your life. You'll be worried for a kid, a certain thing, months. When the story happens, a lot of times it's anticlimactic. That was it? That wasn't it. Your whole journey in relating is all by... We have to understand Hashem really runs the world. And the Kiddush Shamayim and the process of how you related to this was all very, very crucial and important. It's a big mistake, and I'm telling you, I've been guilty of this mistake. And by the way, if somebody wants to learn, we should stop worrying, because you see, no, we shouldn't stop being human. We're human. Humans worry. The goal is not to disassociate. The goal is not to say, hey, you just see, doesn't really matter. No, matters a lot what I do. I would actually appeal to people, if there's a Mamdani, be worried. What do you mean? I learned. Now, if you learn something emotionally, But the fact that we were nervous and we prepared and we davened and we voted and we talked about it was a very good thing. Now the conclusion is not that, oh, we're just all stupid, our reactions. Not the conclusion. Esav comes and kisses Yaakov, and we study and sing. We might sing together. I don't know if I'm going to do it with the Chevra. Maybe we'll sing. Esav is coming with 400 men. Yaakov coming to Hashem. It's a billion thing. It's a big thing. I want guys to have. I want you to be 18 and 50 and 100 and chap. It's crazy. We're singing about a story. He ended up kissing him. And the answer is that's eternally relevant to how Yaakov related to this, to what he learned from the situation. Yeah, it could be he ends up kissing him. Sure. By the way, the next time Esav comes, we're going to have a response also. And we're going to have a story. And my lesson is that human beings and all, we just get too nervous. It's not the lesson. By the way, I'm going to get nervous again. Mamdani's back. I'm happy that I'm nervous again. I'm very nervous. And it's a conversation with self. By Obama, it turned out well. I hear you. So Hashem runs the world. If you emotionally absorb that, wonderful. There's spaces for your process. A guy asked a friend, please listen, a guy asked a friend in Yeshiva, he asked him, how you feeling? So the friend responded exactly how Hashem wants me to feel. I think that's the dumbest answer in the world. I think you end our lives, mine and yours, to answer like that. I think that's disgusting. If I ask you, if my son is saying, how you feeling, Moshe? Say exactly how Hashem wants me to feel. Basically, he said, shut up, Dad. Basically. It's a dumb answer. Because before I asked him, whatever we go through is exactly as Hashem wants. I'm saying I want to connect to you. If he would say, I'm mamish not feeling, I'm mamish in pain, it's mamish hurting, I would then feel with him, and then together we'd come to a space. But the pain I have is how Hashem wants. I want to connect to your human experience. To say to somebody like responds like he's very frum, he wants to tell I'm really frum. Okay, so then let's both die. There's no me, there's no you. How Hashem wants us to feel. The human experience matters, my friends. I'm in pain. Now I'm bringing myself, we don't just live, there's a great madrega, I promise I know before anything happens. My rib's been hurting for a week. I promise you, intellectually I know Hashem wants that. It hurts. It hurts. And a lot of me doesn't live that's what exactly Hashem wants. I hear there's such a thing, and I want to get there also. My journey and my difference from that space, and you understanding. If your friend asks you how you're feeling, it's one of the dumbest answers in the world, exactly how Hashem wants me to feel. You're basically just telling him, shut up, unless you don't want a friendship, but you're allowed to do that. No friends, no people, you don't want your own experience. You're actually, if you're in pain, there's a space where I'm in pain and it hurts, I'm upset. And I could do something, I could get places, I can connect, I can relate. Of course, I want to get to a place Hashem wants me to feel. There's a journey. Don't discount our journey. Don't discount our journey. Esav's coming to Yaakov, and there's a whole journey of a Yaakov Avinu responding to Esav coming. Is a story in the Torah. Yeah, when he comes, he kisses him. I want guys to hear, so I'm asking not to talk near here. Thank you. I want you to hear back there. Thank you. But when Yaakov Avinu responds and has a response, and we're taught in the Torah of Yaakov's response is eternal and it matters. It's not all for nothing. That was a sugya, very beautiful and important, and one that we learn from and gain from Yaakov Avinu's response. That matters. So I want to express this. This matters so much in the stories of our own life, in our own, not to discount our worries. There's a sugya in how, and Hashem designed that sugya and cares about that sugya. And that sugya, people have so much growth, so much success, and so much challenge, and so much. It's not, that was so stupid, Esav ends up kissing Yaakov. The whole story and journey is very special, and forever we sing it, talk about it, study it, learn it. and gained so much from Yaakov Avinu's response to a situation that he was in. He ends up kissing Hashem runs when Yaakov knew before Hashem runs the world. And Taka, maybe one of the things he learns, and if he absorbs that, and certainly absorbs that emotionally as well. I don't want to conclude from the story of my life of things that, whoa, okay, it's just, I really wasted my time, all those different reactions. Not at all. Actually want to celebrate all the different things. Now, is that mechazek being worried? If part of what I learned is to be less worried, that's a cool thing to learn. That's a cool thing to learn also. What I'm not going to take is disassociation. That I'm not going to do. That's the sugya I wanted to bring. I was talking to Chaikel about this. Chaikel was telling me based on a shir from the Rebbe, from a Geisler. I wanted to share this with the guys a lot. There's so many situations of our own lives, Evie, that come up in dating, that come up in dorm rooms, that come up in so many things. And Taka, we end up working together, of course, and it ends up being good. But the process was important. The process and the conversation and the figuring out and the working through, so much is gained. I have asked dorm counselors in the yeshiva, Chaim, if there's ever like a tense situation, two guys have a sechsuch, it's not just breaking it up and making sure they're not fighting. Let's end this situation. Let's figure out what's he upset. This morning, a bacher was upset. I had my best 2-hour conversation in my life with the bacher. We met each other. He met me and I met him. We're mamish close. In 50 years, we'll be closer because he got upset and we learned each other. We mamish met each other. Mamish. So then it's all just at the end. It's just, okay, they made up and they hugged. Along the journey of the story is much gains that were intended by Hashem. I want to take from the Obama story is not look how stupid we are. It's look how Hashem brought out so much steiging in a worry, in a fear, amidst a situation. People learn incredible things and have incredible development in the situation. Now another person came up. I'm not like taking out of it. Now again, so am I promoting? I'm worried about this. Rabbi Kalish, you're saying be afraid again? If you're afraid, be afraid. That might be. He said, oh, but I learned it's stupid to be afraid. It's not what I learned it's stupid to feel. That's dumb. The conclusion is not to stop being human. That's not the conclusion. Now, if the conclusion is I can trust in Hashem, or if you learned that, that's good. Be present to your thoughts, to your feelings, to your human experience, and process this. All this was intended by Hashem. This is what I want to express in the story of Yaakov facing something, doing ishtadlus, and then Esav Taka comes and kisses him. Excellent. Excellent. Maish, what do you hold this? It's from Chaikel. Chaikel gets the most credit from me knowing this and getting this. Michal, what's your...
Anything from Chaikel?
Amazing, no? I was very moved by what he taught. It mattered. It's interesting. Hashem in Torah makes you hear things, Chaim, you need to hear. Torah, we hear like the exact... I needed to hear that. I really needed to hear that. I could sometimes, because I'm good at not feeling, I could take lessons from Obama and say, hey, you're right not to feel. Stop it. But it's not as much to do that. Be scared. People were scared by Mamdani. It's excellent. And you know, when I think about it, I get scared. Really, it's crazy. A guy might be an anti-Semite. It's very scary. That's not the problem. And by the way, guys, I'm not scared. We're all good. You watch another jet. You have good ways. The answer. And now, am I promoting? So please be afraid. I'm promoting to be present. Don't disassociate. Be present. Be human. Be into something. Be present to something. I'm seeing a generation that feels a lot. People have anxiousness. I think it's weird not to be anxious. A new guy comes to yeshiva and is crazy anxious, of course. Of course, crazy. You know what it means? A new guy comes to yeshiva and all new people, it's very full of anxiety. I'm seeing a very present and feeling. I have good tricks how we could feel nothing. It's not the eitzah for a human being. Now it ends up, we know each other, they weren't as scared. Okay, so the process of finding out. The guy comes new, he doesn't know yet how sweet Chaim is, how nice Dani is, how good Michal. He's anxious. In that human experience and processing that story, people get crazy places, Binyamin. And that story is intended by Hashem. And the places we get and the human grapple is very significant and beautiful and important. You know what I'm sharing is what Michael's teaching us?
Yeah, but saying that being afraid is stupid is not saying feeling is stupid. It's saying that 99% of the time you're afraid, it doesn't turn out to be.
But if I was afraid, but if Hashem made, if that's the human condition to be afraid, there's so many great places I can get in that. There's good conversations. There are places. If the person emotionally being present is less afraid, that's a good account. He has more faith. He's brought himself to more faith.
No, he's just, what he's feeling is that 99% of the time I'm afraid and it doesn't end up to turn out to something to be afraid for. So I just
that doesn't matter. It's not always an intellect. These are emotional things. The human being, with a guy coming down, is usually afraid, and then in that fear, a lot of things happen. He does prayer, and he prepares his family, and all different beautiful things that forever we sing about, because it matters. The human experience in that condition was significant. It mattered, and there's much to see and celebrate in that condition. More, do you hear why I was excited to share this with the Chevra? I think it matters in our stories. I think there's so many more things we could appreciate and it's not just, I was just so silly. No, it's not that way. There's things I accomplished and places I got and things I was able to put in me deeper and more through the experience. The experience matters, maybe more significant than what turned out. Think about our fear of Obama, how many things we not how many things we did get, things we worked through and thought about and rallied people. Even the Mamdani thing, there was so much good conversation in our people, important conversation, that people are voting for him. That was a very important thing to think about. People are being pragmatic, he's probably going to win anyway, sell out, should we sell that? It made me think, even the fear made me think about a lot of things. There were people saying to vote for him, he's going to win anyway. They're like, what do you mean? But he's bad. Yeah, but he's going to win anyway. Maybe voting for him, at least appease him. It's interesting. Wow. Do I say that I just can't do that? Because I have to stand up for what's true? There was questions. My wife was fascinated that I was so interested in this, and I couldn't stop thinking about it because I had fear in me. And it made me think about important questions. If I really think he's going to win, should I go there and actually vote for a guy that I think is bad? I think is dangerous. There was good things that you get to places inside of MS, of coming to MS, of moving yourself places.
You can't do that. You can't change your answer.
What did you say?
That you said earlier this year that you can't say it no, so that
Right. That you're a dayan and you have a certain responsibility. There's a fair question, Checker. But I think the very thing we grapple with is meant by Hashem and brings us places. So the experience, it's not just answers. Okay, Hashem will do in a chanami. Hashem will do with him. It doesn't mean, I don't start the sugya when everybody's panicking. You don't start the sugya. Well, Hashem runs the world. So the human experience matters. It does matter. Hashem made us. He made us, and there's a sugya. There's a sugya. I'm sorry? So we started by Yishlach.
Whoa, hey. Just done one day on Vayetze.
Hey.
1 day.
3.
1. Friday. It was only Friday.
I did other days.
And
What do you hold?
I wanna share a chiddush. This is Chaikel. I wanna share another chiddush with the Chevra. There's a sugya at the beginning of Parashas Vayishlach. There's a sugya at the beginning of Parashas Vayishlach of flattery, of Hanifa. Avram, the typical way that most of us see flattery. The typical way most of us see the Isser. There's an Isser Daraisa, flattering. And the typical way we see flattery is to say something you don't believe. A guy comes and you say, you're amazing, and you think he's a jerk. And you're saying that's typically the simple, like, I call Yitzhak, Naphtali, the simple way we understand flattery is people saying things they don't believe. There's a whole, if you look at the Rabbeinu Yoina in Shari Tshuva speaks about the Issa Daraisa flattery, and it comes up in Parashas Vayishlach because Yaakov flatters Esav. Esav's coming, and Yaakov Avinu sends people to tell him, Kai Amar Avdecha Yaakov, your Eved Yaakov Avinu says, and he calls himself an Eved, he humbles himself, he calls him Adoni, my master, and Yaakov Avinu tells his people to flatter Esav. And the simple understanding, and this flattery's mutters, because Yaakov Avinu's life was on the line, Pikuach Nefesh, life-threatening, so he flatters Esav. I don't think that's the real pshat Naphtali. Now, simply if that was put, the flattery is that Yaakov Avinu holds Esav as like horrible. He's a bum. He's a horrible person. And Yaakov Avinu sends his shluchim like tell Esav like good zachem. Tell Esav good things. Whoa, my master Esav, you're Eved Yaakov. There's flattery and his life's on the line. He flatter Esav. I actually, Chamey, don't think that would work. I don't think that would work on anybody. If a Rosh Esav came and you have a plan, let's sweet talk him. Let's say the nicest things. We'll flatter him. We'll tell him the nicest things. I'm skeptical that would do anything. I don't think it would work. I have a raya Naphtali that's not the story in the Parsha. I don't think that's the pshat. Now, we typically associate flattery with that. Sweet talking somebody, saying things we don't believe. And here, where Esav's coming, so flattery's mutter, you could sweet talk to Russia. I'm going to tell you two rayas that's not the pshat. First of all, Rabbeinu Yoina writes that the Isser flattery has nothing to do with saying things you don't believe. It's the Isser flattery, he says, the main level. Moshe Feinstein says is the only Isser bar. He has 9 levels of flattery. Rabbeinu Yoina and Shari Tshuva. The highest level of flattery is the praise of Russia. It has nothing to do with saying things you don't believe. It's the praise of Russia. A person's a Russian, you say he's well dressed. You're not allowed to. It's an Isser Daraisa flattery to praise a Russia. Somebody's a horrible person, and you say, no, he's mamish, well dressed. That's an Isser Daraisa flattery. That is not what?
Nothing to do with the action.
No, yeah, you say something nice about him. That's not even. It's not even the thing he's a Russian. You say he's well dressed. If somebody praises Hitler, you machshema his leadership style. It's so impressive. It's an Isser Daraisa flattery. And you're not even saying he's a jerk, he's one of the worst people that ever lived. I'm in a space of his good point. That's flattery. That's Rabbeinu Yoina right. That has nothing to do with the flattery we typically think, Naphtali. We think of flattery of like sweet talking, saying things we don't believe. You do believe it. If he has a good odor, the Russia Pashut wears a good perfume. It's Asir Daraisa to say he smells good. Now I want to explain something. Yaakov Avinu tells his messengers, he says, listen to the words of the Torah. He says, Kaisomer ladoni le'esav. Please tell my master Esav the following things. 1 second. He wasn't talking to Esav. He should say, please tell the bum Esav. They were doing flattery. So he should say, listen what you tell that sicko. Tell the sicko behind his back, as real behind his back. He's saying, please tell my master Esav the following thing. Naphtali, he's not talking to Esav. Why does he call him my master Esav? He's not talking to Esav. He's talking to the messengers. He gathers up all his messengers, Yaakov, and Sidi should say, listen what I'm going to tell the sicko. Start praising him like nuts. Tell him you're the best. Somebody says, when he gathers his chevra, he says, this is what I want you to tell my master Esav. Not going to be
one that's set a belief in the action in the people themselves.
That's what I used to learn, Pshat. But the time is all emes. Tell them, listen what we're going to do for the sickle. Listen. So I used to say like Elio, and I'm not denying this pshat. Elio says, no, it's such a pshat. Elio says if behind the backs, he calls them a sickle, they're going to mess up. It's like if actors, when I heard, Elio, I don't know if this is true, that actors, when they act the part, try to play the part even when they're not acting. I heard this on a guy who was playing the Joker, that he tried to be a certain thing, like even when he wasn't acting, because acting is nuts, when you really become that person. So here he wants them acting and say, my master. So they went into the act, not in front of Esav. Is that what you're saying, Elio? I hear Elio's pshat. I want to suggest. Yeah, let's assume it wasn't malach, that it was people shluchim. So you hear what he's saying? He's saying that if you're really playing the job, you got to play it real round the clock. CD, I'm not discounting that shot. What I want to suggest, Elio, is something different. What I want to suggest is flattery has nothing to do with playing a game with Esav. Nothing to do that. I want to suggest Esav is marching on Yaakov Avinu. Esav has big mindless. Don't kid yourself. All human beings have big mindless. And Yaakov Avinu, to do flattery, said, let's relate to his mindless. Let's talk. You could be nishtoim. You could be amazed by an Esav. The biggest Russia, you could be amazed. The human being Esav's a yid. He has a neshama. He's a Yisrael woman. The Gemara says din of a yid. You could lose your mind from him, l'toiv. It's just not your job. I want to claim that the flattery to Esav is in this dangerous stuff. Don't try this at home, kids. They weren't saying sweet things. It's not flattery. It's not even the flattery. Your Ben Yonah doesn't even talk about that. The flattery of Esav was, and this is why it was so powerful, in Yaakov's camp was studying Esav. We're going to be amazed by him. He started giving shiurim on Esav, on the kibbut av ve'em of Esav, on the amazing madregas, to the point that behind his back, he was like, this is what you should say to my master Esav. Flattery had nothing to do with how they're behaving to Esav. He was handling with his chevra. You know who Esav is? When they came to Esav, this wasn't the trick you learned when you were kids. It wouldn't have worked. You're getting more sophisticated, Chaim. They didn't come to Esav, and Esav came. They said, my master says, baloney. So Esav would laugh them out of it. He laughed them. People can tell the truth. It means that in Yaakov's camp, they were busy with the godless of Esav. When Esav came, they related to Esav. They're like, oh, that's a crazy thing to do. Only if it's life and death, you're allowed to do this. If it's pekuach nevish, you're mamish worried life and death, you're allowed to do this.
You're not allowed to do this?
You're not allowed to do flattery.
No, to appreciate.
You're not allowed to appreciate a good thing about a Russia. You're not supposed to. He's a Russia. That's Hanifa. To say your praise of a Russia is flattery. What Yaakov Avinu's camp did is they were busy with the Milas of Esav. They were mamish. It's crazy. It's so much more sophisticated. It's funny we learned this story when the kids. Did you think this really would work? The Russia's coming. And everybody, let's say to him, please. Esav's very smart. You thought this trick would work? And Esav would come, and each shliach said, my master. And he's like, whoa. And then he falls. No. They were busy with the mile of a Russia. They were busy with that. And when Esav came, each shliach saw him. They related to him. That's why Pshat Elio, behind his back, Yaakov said, is what I want you to tell my master Esav. They were talking about godless of Esav, and to the point they related him. What I want to get to, Chevra, is that we really, and this is the Ikkus Sugi Reb Nachman says of Dan L'Kav Schus. I spoke to the Chevra, Dan L'Kav Schus doesn't mean to say some crazy, Dan L'Kav Schus means to relate to a person's sidkus, to relate to that space that's really holy. That's Dan L'Kav Schus. People have, Reb Nachman says even on a Russia Gomer has a tzad zakai in him, and if you see that and relate to that, through that ma'at toiv, the guy mamish becomes a tzaddik. What? You're not allowed to do this with a Russian woman. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed. This is unbelievably dangerous. To relate to the tzidkus of the Russia is dangerous. It's not the task normally. To an Esav, it's not what you're supposed to do. Here, Yaakov Avinu is b'koach nefesh. This is what they did. Chaim, I believe this is the sophisticated thing that went on by Yaakov Avinu. Crazy thing to do. That they took Rishon and they were impressed with Rishon, mamish. It's a nutty thing to do. Yaakov Avinu said shiurim to the Chav. You know what Esav is? People are like, whoa. You could do this on a Russia. Russia has things. You think we could do this? You could take a guy who's like the worst. It's not your job. You could take a Hamas guy who's blowing himself up. He's sicko, garbage, this, that. He has human beings that sell him Elikim. The job is not to do this. He's a Rashi. Start up their people. I promise I'm not busy with this.
Is it forbidden?
It's forbidden. It's Hanifa to do this. You killed the Yid. Don't go there. Don't start like showing he killed the Yid. He's a Rasha. For sure, you're not supposed to do this. Even the understanding that it's shaykh to do this gives us, enlightens us very much how we're supposed to behave to another Yid. It enlightens us. To a Rasha, you don't do this. To a Yid, you relate to the Tzad HaTov. It's a tremendous Tzad HaTov, crazy Tzad HaTov, and we're busy with that Tzad HaTov, and we connect and relate to that Tzad HaTov. And in relating to that Tzad HaTov, it changes a person legamri. To me, it's Pashat. Aaron HaKohen, the Rambam says a trick of Aaron HaKohen, and people would say, if Aaron would know my true self, so Aaron was a faker? What was Aaron? Aaron related to the Tzad HaTov of a person. That's a real thing. It wasn't like, there was no trick at all.
It's a very good trick, no?
Not in the slightest. There's a Tzad HaTov of a person that you can connect to. Mamish connect to. And the person in being related to in such a way would say the other stuff doesn't fit. Doesn't have a space, would see Mamish.
That's called lying for Shalom? By Aaron, that's called lying even?
I don't know if that connects to the line, the Shanam Nesham. I don't know. Maybe there's a degree that I don't know here if that's even the line Neshalom. That's because there the Rambam there in that trick doesn't speak about any lies. Not there. The Rambam doesn't say. Doesn't right. This wouldn't be lying. This would be relating, but in a real way, in a deep way, very connected to the person. The person would have such a connection.
It's not lying.
It's very mechayev. When somebody relates to us that way, we want to tell them our affairs. When somebody relates to your goodness, you literally want him to know your Averis. You do it because it costs so much. It's not like we call it low esteem. Not low esteem. I don't want to. You're relating to me as an neshama. I don't want that. It's chayvus. So I pasha want him to know my Averis. Like, Aaron, could you stop it? So mean of you to relate to me like that in such a pure way. They'll pasha want to tell you their Averis. Could you not see me so pure? Please don't see me like that. This is the sugi of Yaakov with Esav. And Esav comes and they relate to him this way. Michal, that this worked in any which way. And it seems like there was some effect of this trick. Esav did come and kiss him. The flattery we assume when we're kids, I don't think that's the pshat. I don't think it would work. It's like hardly believable it would work. If we all say nice to he sees to it, people aren't, he's a Russia, stupid, he's not. But if you're relating to Tzad HaTov and you're studying the sugya, could you imagine taking a terrorist, like studying his sugya and his perspective and seeing even like the Tov in him? It would be crazy. That's very dangerous. And like it makes me nauseous thinking about doing it because you're not supposed to do that. Not my task. It's a Russia, it's not my task. I'm not, here it was life-threatening to do it. That's what he did. It's interesting. There's something called, I'll tell you something interesting, and this is Hashem made. Nasi, did you ever hear of Stockholm Syndrome?
Oh, baby.
Nasi, you heard of, so Eitan, you heard of Stockholm Syndrome?
Whoa.
Stockholm Syndrome, Kiki, and Gersh, Stockholm Syndrome is when a person is a captive, held captive, they start holding of the people that hold them captive. They start holding of them. Literally to the point, when by the raid of Entebbe, when people are held captive, the people start feeling for their captors. to the point that when an army comes and saves the people, there's always a danger they can end up fighting on behalf of their captors, the bad guys. Yeah, that's Stockholm. It's a documented thing. You can look it up
I was
online.
concerned by that.
Wow.
What?
That was a concern.
Of course. It's dangerous. It happens a lot. It's called
This is what happens in
Stockholm
Stockholm.
syndrome. When somebody is held hostage, they become enthralled. You start liking your captive. You start saying he's so sweet, he's so nice. Now the reason, why do people do this, Naftali? What? Oh, what's a psychology? What do you say? I hear what you're saying, but it's pretty crazy to think he's a good guy. The guy's a murderer holding a gun to you that will blow the brains out of hostages.
He's feeding you.
He is feeding. So Lely and Naftali both say that he is giving you. It is true. The simple psychology is that your brain is protecting. Every minute, their life's at threat. So their best way of not being afraid is to say he's a good guy. He's so nice. What? Not being alone, not being vulnerable. It's amazing how our brains, I spoke before how the human being's capacity not to feel. Stockholm Syndrome is a simple brain adjustment. Instead of being afraid 24/7, I'm scared for my life. The guy is a gun, I'm scared. So Stockholm Syndrome is the brain plays a trick. He's such a nice guy. And your brain looks to reinforce I know he looks crazy. I know he shot 4 other hostages. He's really very sweet. And you adjust and turn him sweet and turn him into your friend because then you don't have to worry. Amazing how far the human mind will go not to feel. Because it's so afraid. To be afraid, I can't survive like that, CD.
Guys from October 7th
Somebody,
did that.
what?
Guys from October 7th did that. Guys from October 7th did that.
You have to ask the hostages. Did hostages do this thing? It's a very good question. I don't want to say I happen to have read things on the hostages. I didn't see did they have Stockholm syndrome where they started like assuming he's such a sweet guy, he's a nice guy. You didn't see the one guy who wrote the most. There's one guy who wrote the most. I did read the book. He definitely did some of that, yes. And though he doesn't call it Stockholm Syndrome, when you read and he describes, he definitely had like, eventually he was becoming such buddies. He liked them. They started liking him. It became dangerous. They started moving them further away.
What's his name?
Thin book. I'll get you the name. He wrote a thin book. He wrote a thin book. What was the guy's name, Maish? That book we had in the house, The Hostage. Book somebody in Blue Ridge gave me. Forgetting right now. Forgetting the guy's name. What?
At least something.
I have to look, maybe. Eli Sharabi, was that his book? I have to look it up.
It's October 7th?
What?
That show was October 7th?
Yeah. The Kitzer is this is something called Stockholm Syndrome. What I want to express is that it's based on a true story. You're starting to see good in somebody. It actually is possible on a horrible person, and the brain's doing this for a trick. But you could see like a little bit his way. There's such a thing. Now you're not allowed to do this. This is called flattery. You're not busy with this sugya. Over here, Yaakov Avinu does it because it was life. It was the threat of his life. Naftali here a noop shot in the Hanifi here. That's mutter. Isn't that different than the story we thought when we were kids? Like, say a nice thing. Oh, come on. There's a whole different sugya. Now you understand it's much more dangerous. You take a Russian, you're like being impressed with the Russian. What do you say? Oh, so Naftali's a good question. Reb Nachman says on Rishon to do such a thing. There are clearly cases you're not allowed to do this. Clearly cases you're not allowed to do this. Here it seems clear it wouldn't be mutter if not for the fact that Yaakov's life depended on it. I want to express that on tzaddikim, on yidden, on fellow yidden, this is something you're supposed to do. Dam l'kav schus. See is tzara toiv. Relate to the tzara toiv. Your head's not in the sand. You're actually relating to somebody's tzara toiv in a very strong way, in a very true and accurate and truthful, because people have tremendous time and you're relating to that.
What made
made Esav such a Russia?
This question. I'm really still on Aftali's question. Lely is what makes him a Russian. It's not right now. I'm not like studying that now. It's a very, very fair question. This question: are you allowed to do this to a Russia? Because Reb Nachman says even a Russia gomer down the kavskos, and here by Yaakov, if it wasn't pekuach nefesh, so this really gets the questions: is Esav called a yid or not? If the Gemara in Kedushin says Esav's a Yisrael, Mumar is a yid, so why isn't it mutter l'chatchilan in Esav? Is this going? Is that Chazal which says you're not supposed to be down in the kavskos going? He's not a Yisrael Mumar, perhaps. Perhaps. What were you saying, Kiki?
Wait, who saying they by Esav you have to do Kam.
Yes, I'm not telling you. What?
By Esav you have to do Kam.
No. Clearly not. Clearly, maybe because he's attacking us, yes, that's not the way we relate to him, that he's attacking us.
Why not?
The Gemara says that Hanif is Asir is Pekuach Nefesh, life. You see, it would have been Asir. A Yid, even a Russia Gomer of Nachman says now, there's some Bechin of Dam Lekavskos. Again, how Reb Nachman would learn by Asa, probably he's attacking Yid, and at that point we're not relating to him as one of us.
I don't get it. Still is though.
You got a bris.
I don't know if that goes. The Gemara says Esav's Yisrael Mumar, and if so, we have a kasha. Why is it only with Pekuach Nefesh? It could be when he's in attacking a Yid. That's not how we relate to him. It could be. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Let's say even Pekuach Nefesh. Chani is one of the big three. It's really
Ben Yaina writes that's trouble. Ben Yaina does say
not
that.
like the Gemara. What?
That's a problem. You're right. Nafsha, it's out and there's cashes on that Rabbeinu Yaina. Rav Ezi refers to Rabbeinu Yaina writes that chayiv adam l'sakin. That's why you have to give up your life not to do flattery.
Sakin,
L'sakin, put yourself in a sakana. He doesn't say mamish to give up your life. Maybe there's some difference. Maybe.
What's that?
I'll tell you a cool. What were you saying, Josh?
I'm gonna chiv is a sakin is not
I know.
It's like you have to kill
Some claim Rabbeinu Yaina says not to flatter, you have to die not to flatter. Some claim that. Could I tell you a case Rabbeinu Yaina says you have to be very careful? That's flattery. Rabbeinu Yaina lists 9 madregas of flattery. You're not allowed to say in Aveira that it's not, it's fine. You're not allowed, that's flattery. It's Asidarai Samamish. If somebody does an Aveira, you can say, yeah, it doesn't matter, don't worry. It's an Aveira. If somebody does an Aveira, you're not allowed to say it's fine. You're not allowed. That's one of the strongest madregas of flattery. To say on a Dover Loitay, to say it's fine is a big Aveira.
Don't worry about it.
I could tell you that there's a Yam Shel Shleima, and I'll tell you how Ramesha learns the Yam Shel Shleima. On an Aveira, you're not allowed to say
Your
it.
kid does something, and then you're like, hey, you made a mistake.
Yeah, the Baba.
You're gonna say it?
Maybe.
His birthday was Tuesday.
Oh, really? The Yam Shel Shleima? I didn't know that. Maybe we should go there.
Or maybe you should go to your.
To tell your kid not to feel shame and guilt, that's allowed. First of all, it's a shaking. And it's true, it's accident. Rav Ezi has a very good story with Rav Trank. Tell Akivi's story. He asked telling a kid not to feel... With the kid being Mechal Shabbos.
Oh, the kid. Yeah, that kid.
What do you mean being Mechal?
Listen. It's not even shaking. It's called... No?
I'll read it.
Read it.
What are you supposed to do? Just say nothing?
I know.
If a person does something wrong, you can't say it's not wrong.
I'm saying that anything positive is going to come from telling him that's wrong. He knows it's wrong.
I don't say to say it's wrong. You can't say it's not. The things to say. We can go forward. You know, Hashem still loves you. The things to say. You can't say an Avera is not an Avera. You know.
Say it's an Avera, but for now it's fine. You struggle with that.
It's fine. It's normal to struggle. Hashem still loves us.
So that's kind of flattery.
No, it's
You
It's
can't say
fine, yeah,
Avera.
whatever,
You can't
it's
say an
fine.
Avera. It's not a problem. You can't say that.
Just once you say struggling, then it's fine.
We're saying that something you know.
Say like,
Hashem still likes you.
struggling just makes sense. Yeah, you're struggling, whatever, it's fine.
I'm not saying
Basically
it's
just flattery.
You're not saying an Avera is not an Avera. How can we not do that? Listen to the story. You'll like this story. You have it in there, Vezi?
Which story? Okay.
You have the page. Listen to this story. It's about Vezi's
Just
son.
love it.
It's in the book. Son.
One Shabbos, a young boy in Camp Monk, the child of one of the... What? Louder. One Shabbos, a young boy in camp, the child of one of the division heads, mistakenly turned off a light on Shabbos. The 8-year-old was inconsolable, crying bitter tears. Okay, relax. He was upset, yeah. Crying at the Chil Shabbos, even as his parents tried to reassure him that it had been an accident. He was just a child. Finally, I suggested, that they go together to Rabbi Trenk and tell him what happened. Yes, the child agreed. He wanted to do that. He himself told Rabbi Trenk of his Aveir, in quotes, how he had accidentally flicked the switch. Rabbi, what should I do? I turn on the light, he asked. What should you do? Rabbi Trenk looked down at him. Kalman, you should say, thank the Eibishter that he made you a human being, okay? It's just because they said loud. And he didn't make you a frog or a tree or a chalupcha. And there's a note, a Yiddish term for stuffed cabbage. He made you a human being, and human beings make mistakes. Say thank you, Hashem, for making me a human being. The boy stopped crying. The boy was pleased with the answer. Later on, the child looked at his father, his eyes brimming with clarity and honesty. Tati, I hope I never forget what Ray Trank told him.
Did he say that? Comment said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid is
Yes,
either
that's
really
what
well
he
developed.
said.
I hope you know, I never forget where he trained to
Did his son was the kid?
We were.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Wait, you're being serious?
Can't forget, because it's turned so many times.
Yeah, great story.
Reggie,
Reb Trank was
who's this kid? Do you know who this kid is?
It's a funny kid, no?
Yeah. He's either Down syndrome or really well developed.
Very well developed.
Okay.
Just say.
Not telling you play guitar.
Akiva good?
I remember that.
No, he's not Down syndrome. He's definitely developed.
Good?
Great.
Are we doing a little shishi tonight?
Let me...